Well, hello, tea timers. I'm excited. We wanted to just have a little bit more of that music. Thank you, Patrick, for that music today. It is bringing us into a beautiful day, a beautiful time. We want to welcome all of our tea timers to Tea Time Tuesday. And then also we want to say a great day to everyone out there. I see Monique. Good afternoon. Hello, Michelle. Hello, Shamari. My daughter is tuning in today. Hello, everybody. It's so good to see everybody. I see Michelle is sending us greetings from Concord. She's right here in the historic district of Concord, North Carolina with us. Good to see you this morning, Michelle. And just want to say welcome to everyone where we'll be taking time for pause, a time for reset and building resilience here at the Renewal Center like we always do. And you know what? We are welcoming the month of October. Are you excited about that, Patrick? Because I know your favorite color is an autumn color, right?
It is orange season. Absolutely.
Yeah.
How you doing?
It's so good to see everybody. I'm doing pretty good. We're here. It's a beautiful Tuesday afternoon. We want to let everybody know we are streaming live over there on our YouTube channel. So if you aren't familiar with our YouTube channel, please share it, like it, subscribe to it. It'll keep you informed on what we're doing. And then also, if you are a YouTube person that tunes in, we're streaming live over there also today. So we're excited and just regular. Oh, well, Michelle has a message about her favorite color there, Patrick.
Good for her. But it's orange. Yeah, it's orange. Orange first.
Okay. Okay, Michelle. Patrick said it's orange first and burgundy second. I'm yellow.
Nobody's thinking about burgundy in this season. So.
That's all right. They're all fall colors, beautiful fall colors. And so we are excited to welcome each and every one of you for a time today. We're going to really be focusing in on our renewal practices. But before we do that, we want to get our viewership up. Go ahead, like and share this broadcast on Facebook. Share it on your social media pages so people can tune in today. We're going to kick off right now. Oh, don't forget your journal, your tea, and invite a friend to come along today to join us. We're going to kick off the month of October with our awareness weeks. And so we're excited to be in the month of October. And as we are moving into this month, we have National Mental Health Awareness Week, which is on the screen October 2nd to the 8th. And then we also have National Depression and Mental Health Screening Month. And this is where we all will recognize and promote awareness around caring for our mental health. Is so important to get educated, to get checkups, and to get access to necessary resources. So we all want to take care of ourselves as we move forward into this month. Remember, there is hope. And then if you look on the screen, just continue to promote this National Depression and Mental Health Awareness Screening Month and our Mental Illness Awareness Week. That is this week. There's a lot of information that we can tap into, and this is a great time to do that. Would you say that, Patrick?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's about resourcing and connecting. Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is. And so as we are continuing with that, this is another exciting time of awareness this month because this is National Book Month. Yes, we're celebrating reading, writing, and literature. And, we're very excited about the aspect of art and voice, which is two of our tenets here at the Renewal Center. It's a great time to support reading, a great time to support various genres of literature, and then also to support the books and authors that are actually writing their content. So this is a great time. And if you are an aspiring writer, this is a good time to tap in and connect with other authors. So this is a great time, a great week. We're going to go ahead and get ourselves ready to locate ourselves. And so we're going to, that's right. I can't believe I almost forgot the tea of the week. Thank you, Patrick. Our tea of the week is caramel tea. And we're promoting autumn teas from the RC, the Renewal Center's Cafe. Who couldn't resist a sweet treat in their tea? So we're promoting caramel tea, which is a fun and enjoyable tea. We enjoy this tea all time of the year, but mostly in the fall. And it has caramel and black tea. You can add cream and sweetener of your choice. And then if you really want to make it a little more spicier, you can even add vanilla and spice and have a nice chai tea. And I think that's a great way to bring in the fall season. And so before we actually get ready to go into our renewal practices, this would be a great time for us to locate ourselves. Top of the Tuesday afternoon in our meetings and Zoom meetings and conversations on our phones, doing a lot of things here. Let's take a moment and relax our shoulders. Take a moment to relax our fingers. And let's just look at our visual presentation and do some deep breathing exercises. Let's take a moment to just locate where you are and place yourself in a position of calm. Thank you. Thank you for taking the time to slow down and locate yourself. And we're going to move right into our time today. Patrick has a great presentation, don't you, Patrick?
I hope so today. Thank you so much, Mel. I tell you, everybody, what's your tea of choice today? What's your tea of choice? Some of you are having water. Michelle's having water. Shamari says no tea today. Vanilla caramel latte. All right. Thank you for sharing.
Okay, Mari.
Tea of choice for today. All right. Thank you so much. Today, I want to, as we kick off the month of October, I'd like to focus specifically on a subject I think is important for our growth and expansion. to achieving creative solutions. So today we're going to focus on renewal practice around strategizing new solutions. A little different than what we would normally do during a tea time, but many times in October, September, October, there's training, there's transition into potential new role opportunities. Also, you might be one that's dealing with some solutions that you need to bring to the table. There are some ideas that you need to generate, or there's a problem that you need to resolve. So if you're out there today and you're facing a problem that you need to bring a solution to, go ahead and just hashtag creative. Go ahead and place that in the chat, hashtag creative. And just let us know there's some potential solutions that you need to be able to bring forward this year or currently in the season. Good afternoon to you as well, Charlie. Thank you for coming on. Scarlett is having lemon water. All right, all right. If you're out there and you need to generate solutions, there are some problems that you need to solve. Whatever it is, I want you to just go ahead and just begin to hashtag this term. Just put creative in the chat. We'd like to engage you today on a renewal practice that's going to concentrate on strategizing new solutions. Strategizing new solutions. You say, well, why are we going to focus on this today? Well, because many of us have problems to solve. We have problems to solve. And so what I like for us to do is be able to focus specifically on what type of problems do we need to solve, but also what choices do we need to make about the steps, different steps we need to take, so that we don't rush into being so quick to move directly into a solution or just moving quickly into solving a problem. So what I'd like us to do when we talk about creating new solutions, the goal of that is for us to be able to do this, which is to step back and then step in, to step back and then to step in. Anybody else out there, there's some problems you need to solve, some solutions you need to bring. Go ahead and hashtag creative, if you will, for us. So the first principle we want to talk about today is stepping back and stepping in. Step back, then step in. What are we stepping back from? Now it's the question. So if you're out there, you have your journal today, you're taking notes. Let's use this as a self-coaching experience today. First thing I want you to think about in renewal practice today is stepping back first before stepping directly into it. What are we stepping back from? We're stepping back from being overly analytical or over emotional about what we're facing. Again, we're stepping back from being over emotional about something or over analytical about something. We break it down to the point where it doesn't have any more substance, or we respond or react in a way that we're over emotional about what we're facing. So we want to start out by first stepping back, then stepping in. That's the first thing we're going to focus on. And I want you to think about what is it you're facing right now, and think about how you're going to step back, and then how are you going to step back in. So what are you stepping out of again? You're stepping out of what, Carmela? Being overly analytical and being over emotional. I'd like to ask the tea timers today, if we don't step back from being overly analytical or over emotional, what could take place perhaps if we don't step back in order for us to step back in? So that's what we're going to focus on today. And that's one of the first renewal practices today about strategizing, new solutions. It takes time. It takes conscious effort. But results will be more effective and influential when we begin to take time to step back.
That's
we
good.
Can become innovative when we step back. All right. Go ahead, Mel. What you want to say? Please share.
Oh, I was saying that's good. I think that principle, having that be the first principle of what you're talking about, the first practice, I think it drives everything. Stepping back and then stepping in, but so you'll be able to see the whole thing before you go headstrong off of the deep end.
Yeah.
So
And I like to also ask the audience, what has happened to you before when you didn't step back? What happened when you didn't step back? Mel, what have you observed by, just if someone didn't step back or before stepping in, what do you think would potentially, or have you seen take place when we don't take time to step back before stepping in? I'd like to hear from the audience too, by the way. Go ahead.
Maybe moving out and preconceived notions. Maybe you're not really looking at the situation of what it could possibly be, or maybe what's going on first. But sometimes the emotion part of it drives us to, like I said, the preconceived notions behind it, or looking at it from a different way. And then we come to find out later that's really not really what it was. Or stepping back, having not stepping back, it's like, oh, I could have probably handled the situation or seen it in a different light had I just taken a second to just review first. Yeah.
Good. Thank you for sharing that. Anybody else out there, comments from our tea timers about stepping back? Some of you, if you're facing it, some of you already put creative in the comments. Love to hear from you, what your thoughts are on this. Sometimes Scarlett is saying we dive in and then get exhausted. Yes, that can absolutely take place. Thank you for sharing that. Michelle says misunderstandings and unnecessary turmoil. So these are things that we want to specifically focus on. Is our first renewal practice for the day about creating solutions, new solutions, is we first want to step back and then we step in. All right, that's important. Monique says, if you do not step back, you can make knee-jerk reactions. Stepping back provides time to assess the situation and develop strategies to resolve the issue. Thank you for sharing that.
That's good.
Shamari says, premature decision making. Thank you for sharing that. Driven by emotions, Charlisa says, that affects the thinking. Thank you all for sharing. And again, so here's the thing, whatever you're facing right now that may be considered a problem or there's solutions that need to be generated, let's focus on stepping back first. And as a practice, that might mean say, oh, I'm not going to react to that right now. I'm going to give myself some time to step back so that I'm not overly analytical or over emotional or all these other comments that we see our tea timers are sharing today. So you can give your time, your mental agility to kick in. You're giving yourself some mental agility to begin to come in to the situation. So you're stepping back before stepping in. A couple of more practices I want to focus on today also is remove permanent statements. Remove permanent statements. We're going to talk about that. What a permanent statement, what does that look like? What does that mean when we say permanent statements? I'm going to bring up two. And then also, changing how you think about a situation can change how you behave. So again, we started out by stepping back to step in, remove permanent statements, and changing how you think about a situation can change how you behave about it. So in other words, I know that you need to go into a meeting. You ever go into a meeting, you go into a session, you got to go to a team meeting, and your mind already says, I already know how that person's going to act. I already know how they're going to respond. So my thought process already believes a certain way about that particular individual. You know that person on that team. Come on, folks. That person that just, this is how they are. Sometimes we say things like that or we think things like that. So what ends up happening is I need to change how I think about the situation or the person so that I can change how I interact with them. So instead of me saying, you know what, that's how they are, it's always going to be that way. Then what I end up doing is I begin to shift the narrative by stating, I'm looking forward to engaging in this conversation today. I'm looking forward to collaborative efforts in our working session, versus responding and saying, well, they're like this and they're like that. We change the narrative on our end when we're entering a space. So let's everybody write that down. We change the narrative when we're entering a space. Instead of us looking at the obvious, hey, that's what it is, we step back to step in. Number one, we remove permanent statements. We change how we think about a situation that changes how you act or behave, that's when we make judgments about people and we don't think they can change. So we already make judgments about them instead of us saying that's where they are, right? But the way that I interact is going to shift the interaction in the space, especially if you have to work with someone, you have to engage with someone, you have to lead or manage a particular function. So we take a step back to step in, all right? Then we move into removing permanent statements and changing how you think. All right, everybody hashtag that. Change how you think. Change mindset. Change the narrative. Shift the narrative. All right, this is important. We shift narratives. And when we do that, when we shift the narrative, what that does for us, it helps us become different. We emerge differently in how we use our energy, how we give our attention to a particular issue, because we know we can't change people, right? But we can influence others by the actions that we have or demonstrate. And then, of course, we can do that by how we change the trajectory of our thinking processes, all right? So we're going to shift the narrative. We're going to change how we think. We're going to focus specifically on, again, removing permanent statements, changing how you think about a situation can change how you behave. What thoughts do you have on any of those statements, Mel?
Well, excuse me, my mind goes back to something that you always say is removing the words never and always, because that's not always accurate. Right? These years always there.
Yeah, yes.
It may not be accurate, you know. Those two words, sometimes it appears to be always and never, but I just wanted to pull that extract that out of principle number 2, you know, renewal practice number 2, remove the permanent statements.
Yeah, and we're gonna go into some permanent statements right now.
Okay.
So thank you for sharing that, which is,
oh my goodness.
I always get it wrong. I never get it right. So we're gonna do an exercise right now. And I'd like everyone's participation if you're watching, Tea Timers. What can you do? What can you say differently? Instead of saying, I always get it wrong, what would you say differently? Or by saying, I never get it right. Now, these are things that many times we have this self-talk mechanism going on where we're using never and always. So we're going to intentionally and deliberately change our self-talk and change our narrative with how we speak to others, but also how we speak to ourselves. So I'm going to give you a minute. Everybody, let's think about this. How would you change these two statements? I always get it wrong. I always get it wrong. I never get it right. What would you say differently for the first one? I always get it wrong. What's something that could be said differently to help us shift narratives and permanent statements? Because the issue with permanent statements, Mel, is that when we give permanent statements, they imply negative outcomes.
Yes, they do. They do.
They're always going to be like this. They're always going to be like this. This is how they never.
Right. I think it
promotes negative outcome.
Oh.
What else can that do? Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying sometimes I think it carves a permanent groove, like you said in the repeater. Mm-hmm. Like it's on, just like permanently there.
Yes, it is. We reinforce it. Mm-hmm. And then I thought you were doing this because I thought you were going to say that there are limitations. We enact limitations. We put caps on things because of how we say that. So let's work this again, folks. These are two permanent statements we need to remove. We're just doing this as a renewal practice. I always get it wrong. I never get it right. How would you reword these permanent statements? Because again, they imply negative outcomes. All right, let's look at what answers we got coming in. Now, you see some answers, folks, that are coming up on the screen. What I'd like you to do is take some of them down, because this is, again, part of Tea Time is increasing resilience. We do that through community. All right, Mildred says, I go a different path. Instead of saying what we just said, I go a different path. Scarlett says, last time I learned this time, I'll get it to try it again. Kevin says, sometimes I'm incorrect. So these are all different terms we can use in order for us to move differently with how we navigate permanent statements. All right, what are the permanent statements we're working on? I always get it wrong. I never get it right. I'm going to bring some of those statements up one more time. I go a different path.
That's good.
Last time I learned this time I get to try it again. Sometimes I'm incorrect. How can I do this differently? It's okay. You have missed the mark. You are growing to learn more. So these are going to be statements we're going to focus on. I may periodically get it wrong. You see the difference between shifting the permanent statements? It's such a different flow, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you have one you want to share?
Oh, okay. When you said I always get it wrong, well, I'm going to tell myself, I give myself room not to get it right. I'm not perfect. And then I have another.
Can you put that in the comments so the audience can get that too? We'd love to hear that. Yeah, go ahead. Keep sharing. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And I give myself room to the second one. I never get it right. Then I say, I give myself room to learn from my mistakes.
Anybody else out there? Please share with us. Kevin has another one coming in. Sometimes it's hard getting things right. To err is human. Old adage there. All right, would love to hear more from you. Let's see here. Monique, I give myself permission for grace.
Yes.
Anybody else? Take some of these ideas down. Because again, one thing that blocks generating new solutions is by having those kind of permanent statements. Because they indicate and they subconsciously suggest a negative outcome. So we've gone through a few practices so far. One was step back, then step in. Next one, remove permanent statements. Changing how you think about a situation can change how you behave. And then we're doing a literal coaching exercise. I always get it wrong. You know what I say? Today, I didn't find the right solution.
That's good.
Today, I didn't find the right solution. So there it is. I didn't find the right solution. Next. Move on to the next. Okay. Keep iterating. All right. I give myself room to not get it right. I'm not perfect. I give myself room to learn from my mistakes. Thank you for sharing that, Mel. Appreciate that. All right, let's keep moving on to a few more of our practices for today. So we just did an exercise here about being able to remove permanent statements. So let's go into a couple of questions we want to ask. This is what you want to do. I'm going to give you a few questions that you'll ask, and I'll bring this back up in a minute. These are questions you'll ask when you step back. So Carmela, what the goal is, if I know there's a problem that I need to generate a solution, there's a project, you're coaching someone, there's something that others are facing in their projects, what they're leading, they're influencing their teams. I'm stepping back now, dealing with removing the permanent statements, right? I'm changing how I think as I enter into a situation. And then I ask myself, what are my initial thoughts about tackling this situation? What are my initial thoughts about tackling this situation? Everybody, let's get this down. Let's get this one down. What are my initial thoughts about tackling this situation? And then you take time and you write that down. There are times when I'm facing a particular situation that I need to resolve a problem or bring a solution. I step back, say, okay, what are our initial thoughts about this, tackling this situation? And when I jot that down, And again, this becomes a systemic way of thinking. That's number one. Number two, I ask myself, how would other people tackle this issue?
Yeah.
So first question is, what are my initial thoughts about tackling this situation? Now, mind you, we're in the stepping back mode, Mel. So that means we're not immediately going quickly. We're stepping back, asking ourselves the question about what are my initial thoughts about tackling this situation? And then secondly, my next question is, how would other people tackle this issue? How would other people tackle this issue? I'd like to ask the audience here your feedback on these first two questions. How would this help you, perhaps? If you were to ask yourself this question about what are my initial thoughts about tackling this situation, or if you were to ask yourself, how would other people tackle this issue? What's the advantage of asking these two types of questions? Love to hear from you on that. Let's go to number three. Number three, what are all the possible ways I could create a solution? Now we're opening up more thought processes here, more creative energy and imaginative thinking. What are all the possible ways I could create a solution? We've gone through three questions so far. I'm going to bring that back up. I want to go back to the first one. Again, what are my initial thoughts about tackling the situation? Number one. Number two, how would other people tackle this issue? Number three, what are all the possible ways I could create a solution? Okay. I want you to think about these three questions. We've got more that are coming. Because I think what can happen is when you do these things, what this will help you understand is when it comes to large scale open-ended questions, what ends up happening is you generate more ideas by asking questions this way. Mm-hmm. You generate more ideas, ideation that leads to implementation. So you're learning from yourself and you're learning from others.
That's good.
What are your thoughts first? Jot them down, and you begin to link ideas together. This is synthesis. Then you begin to think about, okay, what are others doing? Would other people tackle this same issue? How would they? You might be thinking about a specific person, a specific mentor, a specific leader, but it opens up for more ideation and linking ideas. What are all the possible ways I could create a solution? This opens up for more generative dialogue and multiple iterations. Then you can ask another question. What are the opposite approaches to those I would usually take?
Mm-hmm. That's good.
What are the opposite approaches to those I would usually take? Now you're thinking about what are some opposite approaches, because we all have a certain way of thinking. We all have a certain way of thinking. And I use this many times in these types of questions in my practice, in my organization development consulting work as well, because it's important for me to see multiple approaches, multifaceted, multidimensional ways of thinking about a problem, and multiple multidimensional ways of thinking about solutions, not just my own, but considering what others are doing, because it keeps the environment collaborative.
Yeah.
So we went through a few questions here. What are your thoughts on any of these questions, Carmela? Just what are my initial thoughts here? We've got question number 2. We got question number 3 here about what are all the possible ways I could create a solution. What jumps out to you, perhaps, or in these questions as well?
I think initially, question number 1, what are my initial thoughts concerning the situation? I think that's a paramount question to start with, because it gives us, kind of repeating what you said, this is what I wrote down. It gives us time to generate the facts and generate solutions. When we come with a hard yes and a hard no, well, then we shut down an opportunity for solutions, because we haven't allowed any other looking at it from any other angle. And then number two, you were saying how what other people tackle this situation, thinking about them, what they would see from another perspective, is giving us a flexibility in our viewpoint. Because then you say, "Oh, I didn't realize that's a good solution," or that's true, because our visibility was kind of limited in the way that we saw it. So then I think when we do that, it opens up a better way for us to see a way to solve a problem, instead of having a hard yes, a hard no, and that's it. There's no other way.
Good. Thank you. Let's see if any ideas are coming in from the audience as well. Let's see here what to share here briefly. Okay, helps me pause and find permanent statements that I may need to change. Good. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for that transparency and that growth. There are others who've gone before me. Let me see how they resolve the matter. Let me see how I can create a solution with the skills I possess. Absolutely. So these other questions that we're asking will open up and see and value what others have to say. Okay. So it's important to be able to do that. All right, let me go back to a few more of these questions, and I hope this is beneficial for those of you tea timers today. What are the opposite approaches to those I would usually take? Now, again, spend time answering these questions. Next one. Based on comparing my approach to other potential approaches, what are my assumptions about the situation? Wow.
That's good.
So based on comparing my approach to other potential approaches, what are my assumptions about the situation? Why do we need to compare our approach to other potential approaches? Because we don't want to get linear. We don't want to remain linear. This is the only way of doing this. The only way, and it's my way or the highway, or it's my or it's by. So based upon comparing my approach to other potential approaches, what are my assumptions about this situation? I need to ask that question. What are my assumptions? All right, everybody got this? Number 5. Let me know if this is helpful. All right, some more comments. Mildred says, work on improvements with an open mindset. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Number 6. Again, another question. Based upon comparing my approach to other potential approaches, what are my biases? So I've got assumptions in this one, and the difference between those two questions, the next one is the same. The first one says, what are my assumptions about the situation? This one says, what are my biases? So based upon comparing my approach to other potential approaches, so Carmela, you might have an approach, and I have an approach about a problem or generating a solution. So in these two contexts, I would say, okay, if I look at what approach I have and I look at your approaches and others on the team, I need to ask myself, what are my assumptions about the situation? But I also need to evaluate what are my biases. Because I might be bringing some assumptions and some biases that I'm not aware that I have. So it's important for me to step back before stepping back in, as it relates to not only my approach, but other approaches as well. Okay, so let's step back here before we step in. Let's reconsider how we're stepping forward in asking ourselves these questions. All right, let's go to I got one more that I'm going to offer. The last one here, number 6, is based upon comparing my approach to other potential approaches. What are my biases? And again, folks, these are all helpful to generating new solutions, strategizing new solutions. All these happen before you go in and make a decision. These are all these 7 areas, and I got one more. These 7 questions are there to help you when you step back before you step in. Last one is, who could I speak with to get an alternative perspective on the situation and potential solutions?
That's good.
Who could I speak with to get an alternative perspective on the situation and potential solutions? think we need to locate ourselves on this one too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let's take a pause and think about this, because this is all about being able to generate these solutions by looking at these 7 questions. And I'll go through them one more time. And we went through the renewal practice of removing permanent statements. We talked about changing how we think about the situation. We've talked through removing those permanent statements, as well as looking at how we ask questions. All right. Absolutely, Scarlett. Yes, work smarter, not harder. No need to reinvent the wheel. Right. Thank you for sharing that. Kevin says someone who is unaware of the situation. Yes. Yes. We're getting insight from other areas. That shows a lot of being pliable. It shows intellectual humility. It shows that when you're saying somebody is unaware, you go to them, you're getting a different, more of an objective perspective,
Right.
Versus somebody that's really close to the problem. Because sometimes we're in the picture and we don't even know that we're part of it. We're in the frame. You know, like you've got some frames right behind you. And if you change the colors of those frames, it would bring out the different colors that are actually in your certificates.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know we're in the frame. So it's important, to Kevin's point, someone who is unaware of the situation.
That's good.
So one more time, let's walk through some of these again. What are my initial thoughts about tackling the situation? Number 2, how would other people tackle this issue? Number 3, what are all possible ways I could create a solution? Really sit with these, okay? These questions are asked when we step back before we step in. Number 4, what are the opposite approaches to those I would usually take? We need another view. And we need to think about opposite approaches because we know how we are. Number 5, based on comparing my approach to other potential approaches, what are my assumptions about this situation? Number 6, again, based on comparing my approach to other potential approaches, what are my biases? And lastly, based upon who could I speak with to get an alternative perspective on the situation and potential solutions? Okay. Very good. Very good. So I'd like to hear from Tea Timers today. Those of you that are there, what are some of your new perspectives that you've gained from the renewal practices today? What are some takeaways and some actions that you're going to do differently as a result of these renewal practices today? Or provide us with some general feedback on what's new. How are you going to grow in these areas? How are you going to adopt a growth mindset in some of these renewal practices today regarding strategizing new solutions, whether it's stepping back or stepping in or the other one? So Carmela, any comments that you'd like to share? What comments would you like to share just overall, perhaps feedback or some insights or perspectives on our renewal practice?
Well, I really like the fact that we are looking at the keyword in your title is new solutions. So that means there's no cookie cutter, solution to everything. And then there's a way to generate. And I like the word strategize, because strategize means what you have shared is we're using all these different ways and angles to approach something without going, like I said, you driving straight in and then you go off the deep end because we weren't able to really look at the whole thing. And I think this is good. I think this applied to all type of ways to look at different problems and provide solutions. I think this is really great. I really like the fact that you were talking about I like the flexibility viewpoint of looking at, well, how can I see it from different places and not just looking at it from my angle or my point of view all the time. So I think this is really good.
Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else, please share with us perhaps your takeaways, new perspectives, new insights, all right, that may have been helpful to you, that you want to continue to grow in, or, how this is added to you. I want to thank everybody for being a part of our tea time today. Hopefully this is a good way of kicking off the month of October as we pause and as we reset and as we increase our resilience. So I'm also thinking about these 7 questions. I plan on enacting those into some projects that I'm working on and take my notes and reflect before I step back in to decisions that need to be made. So again, I want to thank everyone for being a part of our tea time today. Just a few things before we move on forward, before we leave. Also want to remind you that today is Giving Tuesday. So if you are out there right now and you're saying, I've benefited from a tea time community, I would like to donate to the Renewal Center. We are a nonprofit organization here in Concord, North Carolina. And I want you to join us in this giving season as we give together. First, I want to thank you for participating, but also give you an opportunity to donate and support our vision and our mission. These are the different ways that you can donate to our mission here. I would encourage you to download our mobile app. That way you can stay in contact with us in our Monday motivational words. You can access our blog, turn on your notifications and get our announcements. We also have all of our digital content from our New You Digital Discipleship in our media section. We also have our Reforming Culture content there. You can have prayer requests. There's different ways you can stay in contact with us with all of our programming that we have. And so here are the ways that you can give. You can go to the website now at renewalcenters.com/give. You can text Renewal Center to 888-364-4483. The PayPal and the Zelle are the same. The Renewal Center 2020 at Gmail. We also have Venmo at Renewal Center and CashApp, which is Cash Renewal Center. So I want you to really consider being a partner with us here at the Renewal Center. We greatly would appreciate your support. As we do have an operating budget here. We have a location here, 159 Church Street Northeast here in the historic district of Concord. Come by, connect with us. We're here Tuesday through Friday. Come use our thought room, our art room, our voice room, our action room. Come have tea with us, connect with us. If you're in the local area, come by during tea time. Hopefully we can see you even next week at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I just want to give you an opportunity for those of you that says, I would like to connect with the Renewal Center and support your vision of wellness and well-being, of hospitality. That's what we're here for, to help offer that to you. So this is our Giving Tuesday. Give you that opportunity. Also, I want to share with you that every Wednesday we do have our Reforming Culture. Right now, we are currently teaching on the mind of Christ. That is each Wednesday at 7:30. So tomorrow at 7:30. I encourage you, if you can go to our mobile app, you can go to our website. You can also go to our Reforming Culture, the Renewal Center page, and you can register for that class. That's been an incredible teaching. We are always focused. That's one of the key things. One of our areas of vision is to reveal Christ, to renew minds, restore lives, and reforming culture. And we do that also through our teaching on Wednesday evenings. Mel, I want you to share a little bit about what we have upcoming for the women coming up here.
Okay, I would love to. Actually, I have the book in front of me. For those of you who can't see, we're going to be studying. The Renewal Center is offering our first women's Bible study series, the Woman at the Well series. I'm so excited to bring this opportunity to us. And we're going to be studying, not more or less studying, we'll be diving into the book, Becoming a Woman of Purpose by Cynthia Hill. This is a great study. And I would like to invite women to join in and to invite others to sign up now to get your book. So you can order your book and join in with us here at the Renewal Center. It's going to kick off in a few weeks on October the 25th. All of the information is right there in front of you. And when you sign up with the link on our Facebook page or on our mobile app and other places, you'll be able to sign up and get the Zoom link as well as how to order your book. And as soon as you go ahead and sign up, I'll start sending information out. In a couple of weeks, we'll be getting the syllabus out to everybody and what we'll be learning. And this is a soft place to come and just enjoy fellowship and a place to come and just learn more about becoming a woman of purpose. I'm really excited about that.
Awesome. Yes, looking forward to that. So ladies, encourage you, please register. Go to our Reforming Culture pages, our Renewal Center pages, and you can register during that time as Carmela has shared with us. So again, thanks everyone. Any last comments from our tea time community? Let's see what's being said. Tina says, I tuned in late. However, I appreciate the intellectual humility, which suggests that nobody knows it all and we can all glean from others.
Yeah.
Perspective is everything, and mine isn't the end all be all. Thanks always. You're welcome. Thank you for sharing that. Mandy is here. Mildred says, excuse me, take the time to observe the process with perspective and a positive mindset.
Positivity. I like that.
Thank you. Scarlett says here, yes, it's such a blessing. Glory to God. Yes, thank you so much for the Wednesday Reforming Culture, and thank you for being a part of our Reforming Culture community as well. So again, I want to thank everyone. I hope that there's been some takeaways. Please feel free to place your takeaways in our comments. I hope this has added value to you today during our tea time. And we look forward to connecting with you on our next tea time on next Tuesday. All right. Well, again, thanks everyone for being on. And we'll leave you with a locate yourself exercise. So you can just really step back, and then you can step back in and continue with your.
I like that.
Yeah. So let's just go ahead and do that, and then we'll close out. Thanks so much. I'm Renewal. We'll see you next time.